Power Tracks presents the most powerful sport on earth, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Power Tracks is brought to you by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck.
Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leake, along with Army Armstrong. We are once again in Garrett Coliseum, Montgomery, Alabama, where tonight the greatest monster truck drivers in America have another tough track to tame.
The track tonight's going to be real short, Richard, but they're going to start off immediately going right up over a 4-car jump. They have about 40 feet to get squared away for the finale, the final jump, the 10-car jump with about 50 feet to stop at the end of the track. It's going to be quick.
It's going to be extra quick because they ran last night. We've got crunch cars for them to go over. That should increase ground speed.
Richard, in all honesty, I am looking tonight at Garrett Coliseum for 5.5 and 6-second runs from these huge monster trucks.
And another story we've got to keep our eye on. Steve Dane, the driver of Awesome Kong, he is going for his 4th win in a row. We're going to find out if he can do it when we come back on ESPN. Welcome back to Power Tracks, everybody. When we headed to Montgomery, Alabama this weekend for this 2-day event, one of the favorite trucks going into the event was Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson out of Virginia. Last night, Dennis broke in qualifying. He is ready tonight, though. That's because he was up all night working on the vehicle. Here's Army and Dennis.
Well, it looked like in last night's qualifying round, Dennis, you did a tremendous amount of damage. You're going to be able to get back in action this evening?
Yeah, we've got it all back together now, and, you know, we tore it down last night. We worked till 3 o'clock this morning, and I got up rounding up machine shops and parts this morning. We had to replace all the intake valves and some guides and springs, but we're just now getting it back together, so we're going to make it tonight.
Well, bad news for all of our Gravedigger fans. Dennis Anderson did come out to qualify. This is some tape from earlier this evening, but Army, once again, bad luck has followed Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger.
You know, all year long, like a little black cloud's been floating over one of the most popular trucks on the tour. What caught him this evening during qualifying against John Moore? Made a beautiful run. The truck is making horsepower, but he blew a tire out right on the end, not able to get the tire back together. A flat tire is going to cost him.
So Dennis Anderson out of the competition here in Montgomery. I know his wife, Julie, and son, Adam. Adam is a little 3-year-old. He loves to watch his daddy run this monster truck. But, you know, Army, Dennis isn't the only one with bad luck, as we once again look at some taped highlights. This is Jim Kramer, Bigfoot. He goes out of the competition in qualifying.
He drew Stomper in a qualifying round, and halfway through, lifted an engine, completely destroyed the top half of the engine. The supercharger came off of the vehicle. They don't know exactly what caused that. It's kind of a freak incident. We were down at trackside when it happened. The safety crew was right on the scene. The crew member came over and actually picked up part of the supercharger to show us what had let go on it.
Now, is this an unusual occurrence then on this circuit?
The Ford engine runs a longer snout on the supercharger, the front of the blower that the belt sits over. You can see the crew member holding it there. What happened? The engine coughed. When it coughed, that belt kept turning and pulled the front of the supercharger right off, Richard.
All right, so we are left with 11 competitors here in Montgomery, Alabama tonight for this Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. And running down the qualifying, it is going to be USA 1 with a bye run. Rod Litzow, your current national champion, was the fastest qualifier tonight. We'll follow that with Marvin Smith, Stomper 2 out of Missouri, taking on Chandler Lloyd in overtime from South Carolina. Then we've got Steve Kane, King Kong out of Killeen, Texas, Nick Rossi, and Jersey Outlaw from Pennsauken, New Jersey. Dave Wysorek and Nightlife out of Nebraska takes on John Breen and Mad Dog from Missouri. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher from North Carolina against John Moore's No Problem out of Tennessee. Then it's Bob Breen and Wild here, also from Missouri, against Steve Dane, Awesome Kong out of Texas. And we are ready to go. That's the way they're going to line up. First out, though, is what can you say about this kid? He came on strong halfway through the season, won the national title. He's got a bye run here, Army. Rod Litzow.
Litzow's teamed up with Everett Jasmer. They've gone along with True Value Hardware Store, the Glasworth Paint people, one of the prettiest trucks, and a national championship for Chevrolet. Really got people excited about this sport now, Richard.
We are ready now to get our actual side-by-side racing underway, and it's going to be a dandy. This overtime vehicle with Chandler Lloyd out of South Carolina, he is relatively new on the circuit, but he's put together a whale of a monster truck.
Chandler's kind of an interesting individual. We talked to him in an earlier show, and he explained his involvement with GMC is because when he was having some financial problems in his business, GMC backed him So he's going to back them 100% by running one of their trucks on the tour. We're glad to have him with us, but who does he draw? Starvin' Marvin Smith comes out of the Show Me State of Missouri. GMC will be working on the left side of the track, Chevrolet on the right side, Richard.
And, of course, the Chevrolet machine is a Stomper machine. They're off and rolling.
Stomper, a good leave on that start line. Marvin Smith looking exceptionally strong this evening. He'll advance into the next round.
Nice run for Starvin Marvin Smith. And it's kind of funny. I was with Starvin earlier in the pits, and he's got him a new hat he wears that says Starvin Marvin across the front of it. So that nickname you gave him, Army, has caught on. And here's a guy that was a little bit hesitant about coming to Montgomery. He comes from New Jersey, and he said, well, here's a Yankee boy coming down south. I'm going to fly me some Confederate flags and the Alabama flag on the back of my Jersey Outlaw machine. Maybe that'll get me some fans, and it did. And he's taking on Steve Kane out of Texas and King Kong.
I don't know how the stars and bars are going to help this fella from the north. Believe me, he drew a bad dog in this sucker. He's going up against that Texas-based Ford. Awesome Kong. Let's see what's going to happen.
No, that's the King Kong machine.
Okay, I stand corrected.
They're brother trucks, though.
Brother, right, based out of the Jeff Dane operation. Let's see what the New Jersey Ford can do. Texas, look at that Texas. Go after him. He'll advance. New Jersey will go on the trailer, Richard.
Steve Kane wins it in King Kong over Nick Rossi and the Jersey Outlaw. But Nick, as we get on into the circuit, it'll be a force to be reckoned with.
That's something that the four people are really going to be able to watch.
And we're going to watch more great action from Montgomery, Alabama when we come back on Power Tracks. Back in Montgomery, Alabama, where we continue first-round competition on this Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. Coming out next is one of the Breen brothers, John Breen, out of Missouri, and the Mad Dog machine. This is a good one, Army.
He'll be going up against a Nightlife truck. Bream, he's kind of one of the foxes on the tour. I tell you what John Bream is trying to do. He's trying to wrap up 88 with a two-truck team, doing a lot of research and development. He's looking for a Super 89. That's next year. Right now, he's got to get past this kid. I don't know if he can do it or not.
Dave Wysorek out of Nebraska, relatively new on the circuit. We spent some time earlier today with Dave and asked him about the name of his truck.
Names are kind of an important part of this sport. You've got Bigfoot out there. He developed the first big tire truck. That's where the name Bigfoot came from. Stomper came onto the tour with the first truck to really jump and to stomp on the cars. You come out with a truck by the name of Nightlife. What's the story behind the name?
Well, we was trying to figure out a name for the truck, and we were all sitting there, and a neighbor had come over, and he said, well, what are you guys doing? And, well, we're trying to figure out a name. And he said, well, just call it what it is. It's your Nightlife, ain't it? You're out here till 5 or 6 in the morning anyway. So that's what it was. So we called it that.
Now, Dave Wysorek, he's kind of an elite group, fraternity, if you will. It's called the Flippers, the Upside Downs, or what have you. Can you tell me a little bit about the incident where you did get the truck upside down?
Well, we was racing down in Austin, Texas, and I was racing Texas Stomper at the time, and the cars that were pretty well squished, and they had some pretty good holes in them. And I'd come over the cars, and my nose had went down into it, and it was just like something just hung onto my front tires, and I just went on over forwards.
A little bit earlier, Richard explained about the crunch cars. He mentioned the word holes in the cars. That's the reason that TNT puts the straw inside, to keep those holes from developing where the front tires don't actually get stuck on the cars they're going over.
And, of course, tonight, these guys going over cars that were used last night, and that gives them better speed, doesn't it, Army?
Yeah, they get a lot more speed. Remember, this is a quick track. They come out, immediately go to a jump. Look at the Nightlife truck. What a run. Mad Dog will have to wait for another day to go to the winner's circle. The Nightlife kid's going to come back later.
Now, what was the fire shooting out underneath Dave Wysorek's Nightlife there at the end?
A little bit of raw fuel coming out of the exhaust is all it was, Richard.
Well, here's my buddy out of my home state, great state of Tennessee, John Moore. No problem. And this is a guy that's a real cagey veteran on the circuit. Normally his wife and daughter travels with him. This weekend, they're back in Tennessee for a brownie troop, I think, excursion somewhere. He's taking on the pride of the Carolinas, Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher.
You know, Richard, it's ironic these fellas should run each other because they're both building brand new trucks for 1989. We keep talking about 89. The 88 season's wrapping up. You're going to see a brand new Chevrolet Carolina Crusher and a brand new Ford Bronco. No problem. But right now, for bragging rights, who's going to take the win? Look at John Moore. What a shot by the Ford camp.
That is probably the best run I've seen out of John Moore in the entire 1988 season. He has got something going right in that truck as we go trackside.
John Moore, I tell you what, I think you surprised a whole lot of people right there.
Oh, we waited a long time to get one on Gary this year. He's really been running strong against us.
How do you feel your odds are tonight?
I don't know. If I can hang into that lane, we should be all right.
Some of the drivers were talking, they were watching you qualify, and they feel like you may have something up your sleeve. You're leaving on the start line just as quick, if not quicker, than everybody else. Does this short wheelbase help you to get over that first hill quick?
I think we get 4 wheels running on everything right away, and we don't have to wait for the rears to catch up.
We'll be keeping an eye on you the rest of the evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you, I really like that guy, John Moore. He moves on, but here we are, our final race in the opening round. It's the guy that's won 3 events in a row, Steve Dane, Awesome Kong. Why don't we nickname him Steve the Great Dane now, as he takes on the other half of the Breen Brothers combination. This is Bob Breen and Wild Hair.
We told you a moment ago about the Breen Brothers. The difference between the truck that you're looking at now, the blue in color, and the Mad Dog truck is the location of the engine. They're experimenting, trying to find out what's going to work. Awesome Kong, engine sets to the rear. Look, he's proven that theory works. Engine behind the driver. He'll head to the pay window, it looks like, a little bit later, Richard.
Steve Dane wins it. That's his girlfriend, Michelle, cheering him on. Let's go trackside with Army, where it looks like you're kind of lonely down there, Army.
You know, Richard, it's kind of strange tonight. We're standing right at the very end of the track, and these fellas normally, when they win around, they'll stop for an interview for the ESPN cameras. Not so tonight. They're leaning on so much equipment. Everybody's coming past me at the announcer stand, pointing, saying, I got to get outside. I got to do some work on the vehicle. Back to you, Richard.
All right, we're going to be back in just a moment. Montgomery, Alabama for quarterfinal round of competition on the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge as Power Tracks continues on ESPN.
This
Power Tracks is in Montgomery, Alabama this weekend, and earlier this evening you saw Gravedigger break down in qualifying. The same thing happened last night, but that doesn't mean Dennis Anderson is down and out. Army Armstrong spent some time with him earlier.
Well, Richard, 88 has not been a good season for the Gravedigger of Dennis Anderson, but 88's over. 89's on the way. Can you sum it up for us?
Yeah, we did. We had a pretty tough racing season this season. It's been rough for us all along, but we've survived now, and I've got new sheet metal at home, new frame, got new iron to work with, so I think we'll come back stronger than ever for the 89 season. And, you know, this truck has had a tough life, and you know, it's just time to retire.
Okay, you say new sheet metal, new iron, everything, so we are talking a new Gravedigger for the 89 season.
Right, it is. It's a new Gravedigger. It's going to be it'll be a 50 model Chevy panel truck, and we've learned a lot from this truck, you know, because we've changed styles of crushing cars. It's now down to racing, and we need to make a lot of changes, and the new truck should be ready for it.
Well, keep your eye open for the Gravedigger in the 1989 season. We're ready for our first quarterfinal round of competition, and it is the second fastest loser, Mad Dog, Bob Breen, against the national champion, Everett Jasmer's USA 1 with Rod Litzow.
Chevrolet's a pair, no problem. Looky here, the USA is flying like an airplane. Beautiful Litzow driving job.
Easy win for Rod Litzow. He blows away the competition. Let's go trackside. Army's got him.
Well, Rod, it's kind of strange. Your truck actually looked like it made a smooth shot out there. You didn't look like you're working that hard.
No, the truck's running great today. Had that little problem yesterday, but it's all solved, and it looks like it's going to run really strong tonight.
We're ready for our second round in the quarterfinals. Starvin' Marvin Smith, the Chevrolet Stomper, against the Bad Texan. This is one of Jeff Dane's trucks, King Kong, driven by Steve Kane. I'm confused again, Army.
Don't be confused, Richard. Kane, Dane. The bottom line is these guys out of Texas play hardball in the Monster Truck Series. They are here to win. Jeff Dane is the owner of Awesome Kong and King Kong, but you get paid by how far you go. No love lost right here. They're going after money. The Chevrolet, looky here, we may be looking at an upset. That is definitely an upset, Richard.
You have got the upset in your pocket. Starvin' Marvin Smith, the Chevrolet Stomper 1, has knocked off Steve Kane and King Kong. That has got to be an upset, and I'm sure Marvin Smith is happy.
Marvin, it seems like you may have found something tonight.
I don't know. Just a little more pedal, I guess. The track, it's just getting a little bit longer, a little faster all the time.
You know, that Texas Ford, we figured that's going to be really a close race, but you got a better leave on him, and you seem to hold it, and you're actually pulling on the end of the track.
Well, I don't know. The motor's running good, and I'm just doing the best I can.
We'll see you in the next round.
Thank you very much.
He's a happy son of a gun. As another happy guy to be in the quarterfinals coming out now, John Moore, no problem, out of Tennessee. John is the oldest driver on the circuit at 44 years old, but he told me earlier, Army, he may be old, but he's not dead. and he's taking on Dave Wysork, a young kid in Nightlife.
Yeah, kind of the old veteran going against a new kid on the block. Old veteran in the Ford, new kid in the Chevrolet. Let's see what's going to happen. Chevrolet at half track, goes up in the air, puts Moore away.
A close race at the finish, but Dave Wysork, the kid, has knocked off the cagey veteran. John Moore heads back home. What is that on the track, Army?
Part of the crush cars. When Moore hit, it kind of bounced out of the crush cars. Nothing off the monster truck, Richard.
All right, now I know we've got an interesting feature for all you race fans.
TNT Motorsport videotapes each monster truck race for 2 reasons. The first being time. Time is so important as far as the pairings go for the next round. Also, should a very close race happen, they will go back and jog the tape frame by frame to determine who the winner will be. A photo finish.
And last night, as a matter of fact, we had a photo finish with this guy in it, Awesome Kong and Steve Dane, winning over Bigfoot last night, a photo finish. He's taking on Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter. Now scheduled to come out was the overtime machine, but he lost his brakes in earlier competition. So Gary Porter comes back as the 3rd fastest loser to take on Steve the Great Dane.
You know, Richard, as I see Steve Dane, it kind of reminds me of a fellow named Alley-Oop from the 50s. You know what I mean?
No.
Kind of a mean motor scooter and a bad go-getter, and he's proved it all year long. This is going to be a kid to watch in the future of the sport.
Well, the win will be right here at the start line, and it's going to be an easy one, it looks like, for Steve Dane. He gets loose, though, on the track. Awesome Kong has won it. Steve Dane moves on. He is trying to make it 4 wins in a row on the Renegades TNT circuit. That has never been done in the history of this circuit. Steve coming down now, a happy guy to talk with Army.
Well, Steve, that had to be one of the wildest rides I've ever seen out there. You didn't even back off a bit.
No, I've been having a little trouble keeping her in a straight line today. Cars are getting a little smashed and a lot of holes here and there, and track is going away on you. And what it does is the cars keep getting deeper and deeper holes. They seem to fit perfectly for a tire. One tire will fit in there and the other tire might be up, so it's pulling you to one side and you keep hopping from side to side, and it's making it a little more difficult. I'm not getting the air I want to get in order to clear those bumps. I can't get the speed up to do it, so it's not a real fast track for me right now. Hopefully I can pull something together and make it a little better.
Well, get ready. Coming up next, the semifinals, Stomper USA 1, Awesome Kong and Nightlife. Coming up next on Power Tracks and ESPN. Well, the Monster Mayhem continues in Montgomery, Alabama. We're ready for the semifinals. Here's your national champion, Rod Litzow. USA 1 against Starman Marvin Smith.
Both of them line up. The flagman Al Goss gets a green flag, and the USA 1 goes right to the head of the class, Richard.
A good night tonight for Marvin Smith. Not good enough to knock off Rod, though.
Well, Rod, you're going to the final. Do you have any choice of who it's going to be?
The truck's running strong tonight. We got Awesome Kong and Nightlife, and they're both running really strong tonight. It's going to be a good matchup. I'm going to stay with the lane I have.
Staying with that right lane. When you pick a lane that works for you, you just wear it out, don't you?
Yeah, once I get the feel for a lane, I get more and more used to it, and I can run the truck a little stronger, and next time I'm going to run it as much as the truck will go.
So who will Everett Jasmer's USA 1 face in the finals? Will it be Steve the Great Dane and Awesome Kong, or Dave Wysork and Nightlife Army? I've got to go with Steve Dane.
Well, Dane has to be the odds-on favorite just by the performance that he's had the last half of the year. However, Wysork, you were talking to him earlier. He's new on the tour. He's hungry. He's learning. He can make the horsepower. I don't think horsepower is the question. I think it's going to be chassis. Remember, Dane, engine to the rear of the driver. Wysork, engine to the front of the driver. Chassis difference, that could win or lose this race. They're lined up, ready to go. Once again, Richard, the long, tall Texan goes to the winner's circle in the final round.
Steve Dane will face the national champion USA 1 in the finals. Last night, he knocked off Bigfoot in the championship. Tonight, he gets a chance to knock off the national champion. If he does it, that means 4 in a row for Steve Dane and that Awesome Kong machine out of Killeen, Texas.
Well, Richard, it takes a lot of heavy equipment to run these monster trucks, and that's the question of the week we're going to talk about on the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge Series.
And our question of the week comes from Mr. Ron Honey of San Jose, California. And Ron knows that these monster trucks take a lot of heavy-duty abuse each and every week on the circuit. And he wants to know what kind of rear-end assemblies are used on the monster trucks. Well, believe it or not, the rear-end assembly was designed and created by the government for use on 5-ton military vehicles. And the real kicker is the same rear end they use on the back of the vehicle is also used on the front of the vehicle. The reason is they're four-wheel drive and four-wheel steered. And if you have a question of the week, you can send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. And if we use it on a future ESPN broadcast, we'll send you in the mail a TNT Motorsports racing hat. Well, we are ready to rock the halls of Montgomery. It is time to name the king of crunch car racing, the national champion, USA 1 and Rod Litzow against Awesome Kong and Steve Dane.
Richard, remember, Steve Dane beat Bigfoot last night. If he can beat USA 1 tonight, that'll mean in one weekend he put the top two trucks in this Ford away. Let's see what the kid from Texas is going to do.
He's got him, Artie. Steve Dane has done it. 4 in a row for the kid out of Killeen, Texas. Knocks off the champion of 1988, Rod Litzow, in the USA 1 machine. Steve Dane is going to be the force to be reckoned with in 89. He is one happy son of a gun, and the crowd absolutely loves Awesome Kong as we go trackside.
Steve, you and Rod just put on a tremendous shot. I don't know what the time was on it, but it was awfully, awfully quick out there.
Yeah, I knew we were going to be running fast. The last one, me and him always, we go as hard as we can. And it's been going, he's been running really strong. I congratulate him. He's been running great.
Well, Steve, 4 in a row. You're the first man to ever do that on a Renegade Tour. 4 times. Now, we were talking earlier about you working your way from the bottom up. Son, you're on top. They're all going to be coming after you. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's lonely at the top. It only lasts a little while. Nobody can win every one. I tried real hard this weekend. I run my motor till it's ready to puke. It's super hot. And beating USA 1 today and beating Bigfoot yesterday has got to be the highlight of my career.
Well, congratulations go to both of you gentlemen, a couple of class fellas. Back to you, Richard, for the wrap-up.
Okay, Army, so we had 3 big stories tonight. Bigfoot broke down qualifying. USA 1, Rod Litzow comes in as the new national champion, but he gets beat by Steve Dane and Awesome Kong. For Steve, his 4th consecutive win, something that's never been done on the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Lake. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.
Join us next time for Power Tracks, the most powerful sport on earth. Brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.